And again, this is one of those deals where people look at it as a standalone, but really it's in context of everything that we've been talking about. And it says, ask and it will be given to you, seek and you will find, knock and the door will be open to you. For everyone who asks receives, the one who seeks finds, and the one who knocks, the door will be open. Which of you, if your son asks for bread, will give him a stone? Or if he asks for a fish, will he give him a snake? If you then, though you are evil, know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more will your Father in heaven give good gifts to those who ask him? So in everything, do to others what you would have them do to you. For this sums up the law and the prophets. All right, let's get into this. People take this out of context and talking about asking for stuff and praying, right? Really what this is talking about is, how do I live my life in a world where people don't get me? How do I live in a world where that's sick and dying? How do I keep my heart right towards other people? And how do I continue to ask and knock and seek after God to stay on the straight and narrow and reach people like what you just said, Mark? How do I pray for other people? How do I take the focus off of me and my wants and my desires and allow God to use me as a vessel to bless other people? That's what this is talking about. It's not beating down God's door so we can get a new car.
No.
You know,
but what you're saying, Bill said it earlier. For me, it boils down to one word, because, and that word he used was patience.
Yeah.
You know, and what I said is being able to know when to move on and being patient with something else, because Bill's saying, how do I do it? Is being patient and knowing that, okay, I'm not the vessel for this task, but God has another vessel that he can use. So that's faith, trust, patience. But in the end of the day, your word patient just shouts out to me.
Yeah, this is important, because I think the tendency is sometimes we do shake the sand from our sandals and move on, when we should really be seeking and searching and knocking and praying for someone, and not giving up on them, and not judging them. You know, what do you think, Mark? Brad, sorry. Mark's talked enough already today.
Yeah. Well, then I won't talk anymore. Because this is paid by the minute, right?
Yeah.
I think you being a conduit to him for 40 years, whether you're the answer or not, you left that relationship open. And that's the blessing that God bestowed on you. And the hard part is losing somebody.
Yeah.
But you were that conduit for him, and you set that in motion. And when we are conduit to other people in our faith and our walk, and they see the success, but they also hear the struggles. We're not perfect. We'll be the first four, the first five, Austin included. We'll be the first five to say, we're not perfect, but we seek perfection in his grace by seeking our faith through him. And we have our shortcomings, we have our mistakes, our missteps. But as long as we can continue the praise and the glory of God and share with others, to be intentional, to be purposeful, to be Christ-like, and to let others know what our faith and walk is by example, by verbiage, and by patience.
Right.
Because so many times, you know, the biggest guy that's ever walked on the earth literally blocks the sun when I would see him. And I would share with Curtis that, you know, when we say we've got this, we both fall to the ground. And he says, well, you quicker than I because you're closer to the ground. And I'm like, Curtis? And he goes, brother, I hear you. He falls harder. He's larger than you,
Mhm.
but his heart for God, and it's just an amazing. And we got coffee the other day, and I think people were not astonished by two grown men holding hands and praying,
Nice.
but being that conduit for others. And you starting that with Kevin, you know, all we can do is watch, encourage, have a word with Kevin as well. And all of a sudden, he sees it in Patrick. He sees a little bit in me. He definitely sees it with you because of your closeness and bond. And that's our mission. That's our purpose, is to share the word with others and to spread.
Yeah, I have a question. I have a thought and a question. And the example that Mark gave about his friend and how he accepted Christ 2 weeks before he passed is powerful. What would we want if the shoe was on the other foot? You know, how would, if any one of us was in a situation where we didn't know the Lord and we were in a dire situation, what do you think we would want someone to tell us? You know, would, what would you expect from someone that knew God and knew that you were dying and either didn't reach out or was ashamed or was kind of felt weird about it? Like how would you feel about that? Like knowing what you know.
And one of the most important things, I think, because we talked about they've got to be ready to receive that,
Yeah.
right? The person has to be ready to receive. So I think the most important thing to hear would be, when you are ready, I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really it. When I'm here for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's really all you could do.
I think if that were posed to me, Patrick, with the shoe on the other foot, I think if somebody were to say, hey, Brad, there is life after this life.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what do you mean? You know, I've been alive, you know, twice as long as Christ has been on the earth. Yeah, but that pales in comparison to the life that we have in eternity
Yeah.
with him. Well, how do you know that? You're alive. You're not dead. How do you know that there is eternity after death in the world, on earth? Because there is life with Christ. He came for our sins. He died for our sins. He came back to acknowledge that, to follow me. And here's my offering to you. Here's Christ's offering to us for those of us that don't have salvation, and those that do. Our time is so minimal, we may wear the watch, but he's the timekeeper.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And if we want that life afterwards, here's what he offers, and here's what I
Yeah.
convey.
You would at least want someone to broach the subject with you. You would at least want someone
Absolutely.
to try, right, to reach out. And to Bill's point, but if at that point they're like, yeah, I'm good, I'm ready, then you can't force your will on someone else. It's between them and God. But I think the reason why I bring that up is, you know, do unto others what you would have them do to you. And that really sums up the law and the prophets. What Jesus is saying here is that you guys are so fixated on the Mosaic law and the prophets. If you treat other people the way you want to be treated and do things for them that you would expect them to do to you, if the shoe was on the other foot, then you've already accomplished, you know, the law. It's not about the letter of the law. In order to be able to do those kind of things, it's a matter like of the heart, and that's really what we've been talking about.